What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new Football Manager 2016 video. Today it's episode 13 in my Liverpool LFC Let's Play series. As I said, episode 13, it's the season review, so if you've not seen the other episodes, go check them out. We have completed our first season with Liverpool. Today I'm going to be reviewing how the season went for me and just everything really in quite a bit of detail, everything Liverpool related at least. Okay, so I don't even know where to start here. Let's just go logistically. Let's start actually, because I was going to say let's go down that way, but let's start with myself. So if I go to profile, if I go to contract, you'll notice I did actually get a new offered contract in the middle of the season in November, which I did accept. I don't believe it was any wage increase. I don't think it was anyway. I'm not too sure on that one. I may be lying there. But it does keep me at the club for another 3 seasons from now. So that's, that was decent news on my half. Take a look at the promises. So I promised Emre Can we would qualify for the Champions League, which we have done. And then 3 players wanted to leave, which has also, I've transfer listed them, so they are relatively happy with that. That's all you need to know about me anyway. So we're going to move on to our squad. So who is the best ability? I'll just sort it by that. I think it was already, so who's the best ability player in our squad? It's actually Felipe Coutinho. He's been pretty impressive this season, it's got to be said, having an average match rating of 8 in the last 5 games. Emre Can in second, Jose Gaya, Nathaniel Klein, which is good to see. Our wing-backs are actually, our full-backs, our wing-backs are actually highly regarded. Jordan Henderson has had quite an exceptional season, it's got to be said. Daniel Sturridge, he's been quite hit and miss. Gabriel Barbosa actually quite high up there considering he's only 19 years of age. Roberto Firmino, Joel Matip, Alberto Moreno, Mamadou Sakho, Adam Lallana, Sadio Mane quite far down the list. Dejan Lovren, surprisingly, who was our first choice centre-back, he's actually also quite down far the list, and so is Lloris Karius. Where's Mignolet? He's actually just above Mignolet. That's something I'll probably address in the coming season, but that'll obviously be in next episode. Then obviously we've got some of the young wonder kids type of guys. Obviously Barbosa's already up there, but we do have good prospects coming through. We've got Sergi Samper, Joe Gomez, Divock Origi, and obviously our 17-year-old right back Paslak from Dortmund. He really, I probably should have played him more. I do feel quite bad about that, but I'll see what I can do. Maybe we'll look to bring him, permanently in the future. But Nathaniel Klein does do a good job, and he's only 25 years of age. We'll sort this now on average match ratings throughout the season. So Nathaniel Klein, as I just said, he gets top marks there. Felipe Coutinho, and what a buy that was. Deadline day deal. Jose Gaya, I identified the left back as a serious situation that needs to be improved, and he came third in our average match ratings. So good to see. Jordan Henderson in fourth. I've already mentioned he had a great season. Marko Grujic, actually that's quite surprising to me. He was in and out the squad. He was a first choice, then he wasn't, then he was, then he, it was a very up and down season for him. As I mentioned, Paslak, he played quite well in it when he did play, but he probably didn't get a fair enough chance from me. Emre Can up there, great season for Emre, really pleased with that. Daniel Sturridge, he was up there. Lucas Leiva, but obviously I believe he's probably made, yes. Oh, actually he was on loan. I was gonna say he's made a lot of appearances for the youth squads, and then I realised, he's actually out on loan. So he's made 40 appearances out on loan, which is good to see. Wijnaldum only making 6. Obviously he came to me very early on in the season, if you've not seen that, and he said he wanted to leave. Adam Lallana, to be fair, he did have a good campaign, but he was hit by injuries quite a lot, and he was never really a full fitness, so I could never really keep a consistent run of games for him. Roberto Firmino was another one who was hit and miss. He came to me quite a few times saying he wants to leave because of the lack of first team football. Then I said, well, you've got to prove yourself, and he just didn't, so it was a very up and down season for him. Gabriel Barbosa, solid first campaign in the Premier League. Alberto Moreno had to step in for Jose Gaya, and he picked up I think it was like a 3-week injury, something like that. Joel Matip, the best rating of our centre-backs, which is really, really good to see. Really happy with his first season. John Flanagan obviously out on loan. James Milner only played twice, which, sad to see. Sadio Mane, not getting the highest of average match ratings, which is actually quite surprising. He's actually wanted by PSG. I've already looked into that. And then obviously a few of the others a bit lower down. Divock Origi only got 3 substitute appearances when he came back from his loan, mainly due to quite serious injuries. But in them games, he really didn't make much of an impact or look like he was going to. So I want to see a bit more from Divock next season round. We'll go to competitions first, and then we'll go back to schedule. So in the FA Cup, if you do not remember, we were knocked out in the 3rd round by Manchester United at home. I believe it was a 2-1 defeat, was it? I can't quite remember exactly. Yeah, it was 2-1 at home. We took the lead, and then United getting 2 goals in the second half to knock us out. A very frustrating game. And then we were knocked out in the quarter-finals of the Capital One Cup, 2-0 at home to West Ham. I think it was it was a rotated team at this point. Or actually, it was quite strong, but then there was rotation within it. So I kind of kept the back 4 near enough the same, except, obviously Gaia was dropped. I don't think Mamadou Sakho and Lovren. I think Matip was actually first choice, so obviously one of them was standing in. Midfield, heavily rotated. Sampa was not a starter. Conor Randall was not. Wijnaldum wasn't. Firmino wasn't. Lallana wasn't at this point. And I don't even think, to be fair, Daniel Sturridge was at this point. I think Barbosa was, to be fair to him. So, it was a heavily rotated team, and we probably should have done a bit better against West Ham United. But they did cause us a lot of problems, especially with the aerial threat and obviously the physicality against an inexperienced side. It's going to happen, isn't it? But we'll move on to the all-important competition, the Premier League, which we did go on to win on the last day of the season. And I'm going to admit, it really wasn't the best of performances in the Premier League. I've said it myself so many times, I'm really surprised we did actually go on to win this competition. As you can see, I keep pointing this out if you watched any of the other videos. I know that this series had quite a high viewership, which is really nice to see. I thank you all for that. I keep banging on about the fact that this little top 5 mini league, so the top 5 are pretty separated from the rest of the league. I know there's only 4 points in it, but we'll get to that in just a moment. But the top 5 was pretty much, a decent little mini league within itself. So the top 5 and ourselves, so 4 of the teams and ourselves, 4 teams, you play them twice, home and away, so that's 8 matches. We beat Manchester City at home, but then look at our defeats, 7. They're the teams in the top 5. So we played 8, lost 7 and only won 1 against the fellow top 5 teams. That's really poor, and that's why I'm surprised we did actually manage to win the league. Obviously, we were very dominant against the other teams in the rest of the division. But if we picked up some more points within that, that top 5, as I said, that top 5 mini league, we really would have been a lot more comfortable at the top of the Premier League. And it comes down to the fact that we lost them games. So even if we picked up let's just say we picked up a victory away to Manchester City, that puts us on 84. That knocks them down to 77. Okay, so then you win the league by, I don't know if I've done the maths right there. I hope I have. Then you win the league by 7 points. Am I right in saying that? It's essentially a 6-pointer, isn't it? Because it's a 3 points negative for them and 3 points for us, and we've already won the league by 1 point. So yeah, that's 7 points. You look at Tottenham, so we lost home and away to Tottenham. If we win both of them games, Tottenham lose 6 points, so they end up being on 68 points. We get an extra 6, which puts us on 87. Then you're looking at nearly a 20-point differential between us and Tottenham, which is it's an absolute huge amount. It's a huge deal of difference. And you think about it, it's only 3 points, but it's not when it's the teams in and around you. It's a 6-pointer. It always gets said in terms of the bottom of the bottom of the table. It's a relegation 6-pointer. You can have top of the table 6-pointers as well, and we just really didn't come on top. But one thing I do want to point out, how important, yes, I know it's really poor record, but that home win against Manchester City, I'm so happy we managed to get that. Imagine if we lost all 8, then City would have an extra 3 points. We would have 3 taken off us. We would be on 78, City would be on 83, and we would have lost the league by 5 points. So, that one game essentially won us the title. Obviously, it wasn't that easy. Let's take a look at the tail of the season in terms of the past positions. I just want to highlight Arsenal first. So they were top with they were top with 10 games to go, which was sustained right through until 31 games to go, and then they really slipped off the pace. They drew the next game, they lost the next one, they lost the next one, they drew the next one, they drew the next one, They lost the next one, and then they lost. So Arsenal have not won in 7 matches. That's absolutely crazy, and I just want to. I'll come back to that in a minute. Actually, Manchester City, they were top for quite a few different parts of the season. Ourselves, I think we may actually. I'm not too sure. I was going to say maybe we spent the longest time at the top. Actually, I think we might just about have. I am not going to do the maths on that. The Chelsea and Tottenham. Chelsea were top for a bit. I know this is getting really confusing now because there's quite a lot of lines. Tottenham actually were top, weren't they, for 1 game week? I think, actually, to be fair, I was right in saying, yeah, we were actually top for the majority of the campaign, which is obviously really good to see. But as I was mentioning with Arsenal, we go to stages, so obviously that's the Premier League title as it is. The table. If you go to form and you sort it by position, if we go to form and sort it properly, Arsenal are bottom of the form guide, in recent weeks, and we can highlight that by last 5 games. Arsenal are bottom, so in the previous 5 games, they picked up only 2 points, and that's from a Premier League winning position. They were in first place near enough. Ourselves, we finished the season really strong, which was, it was so important because I really felt like the league was probably starting to pull away from ourselves. It was going out of our reach, and then it suddenly came back into it, and we picked up 13 out of 15 points in the final 5 games. So obviously getting that strong finish to the season was, it was so significant. We'll just take a look at some of the media predicted positioning-wise type of thing. So for ourselves, we media predicted 5th. Our odds were 20-1, and we actually won the Premier League. As I said, this one, I was never really expecting to win the league this season, and it's come maybe a season early. I was hoping to win it next season. As I said, it's come a season early, which is really good to see. It's good to know. Manchester City were predicted 1st. They finished 2nd. Tottenham was 6th. They finished 3rd. Chelsea were 3rd. They finished 4th, and so on. You can see everyone else's. Watford, impressively, were predicted 13th. They had a really good season and ended up in 7th, getting some. I believe they did actually get European football, if I'm right in saying, overall. Actually, no, they just missed out, but I'm sure they wouldn't have missed out. Who won the cup competitions? We go to cup. Arsenal won that, actually. Yeah, that's why. We're still waiting on the FA Cup finishing up. And if Southampton win it, then they get the European football. If Tottenham win it, then it goes to Watford, I think I'm right in saying. So obviously, that's that'll be an interesting one to keep your eye out in the next episode, obviously, when we've gone through our pre-season and so on. Training, I don't really know if there's much to show you. Actually, I'll show you our general focus overall type thing. So I'm a manager that just likes to have huge blocks of training. I had a bit of balance, a bit of team cohesion. That was, I make reactive things. So if I see we'll be defending poorly, then I'll go on defensive. If I see our tactics aren't quite there, I'll go tactical. Team cohesion was when we were really struggling around January. I just really felt like the team wasn't together. They weren't like on the same wavelength. Some players were playing really well, some weren't. So I just thought team cohesion. I don't even know if it works that well, but we spent 9% of the season working on it, which probably works out at about 4 weeks maybe. Balanced, we probably spent a week at most working on it. Whereas defending and tactical, we had an even split. I am actually a defensive coach. I don't know if you've seen my attributes. I'll go to them, that's the wrong thing. As you can see, I am a defensive coach, 19 for defending. Obviously, me attacking's pretty decent as well, but that's how I like to set up my teams. I like to just have them quite defensively solid. As you can see, there's more men back than there is going forward. I like to set up for counter-attacks, which obviously works in some instances, but then doesn't in others. So, whatever, the training obviously has worked to an extent. I do feel like we probably should have done a bit better in the league, in terms of being a bit more comfortable, especially the position we were in. We'll take a quick look at this. This may be a bit of interest. So our top goal scorers were Daniel Sturridge, Felipe Coutinho, and Gabriel Barbosa, all on 12 goals. Barbosa actually having quite a decent season. Klein as well on 10 assists. We'll take a look at Barbosa's stats actually. So he made 32 league appearances, 22 starts, 10 substitute appearances, getting 10 goals, 10 assists. Really, really decent for such a young lad. Going to be really key to our future success. In terms of goals scored, we scored 20% of our goals quite early on, 16 to 30 minutes. Majority of them were crosses from the right hand side. Obviously that links in with Klein and Barbosa both playing on that right hand side. Our work rate's actually one of our lowest attributes, which is quite interesting. First touch is one of our highest. We'll just do a quick comparison to the rest of the Premier League. We do have the youngest squad in the Premier League. Average wages probably quite high up there. We'll take a look at that actually. Get a bit more detail. I think you can do it this way. We'll take a look at the player, awards, so to speak. So, average player rating for the Premier League. Hector Bellerin actually won that. Pablo Zabaleta and David Silva and Man City second and third, with Nathaniel Klein coming in fourth, which is good to see. Klein was second on player of the matches behind Hector Bellerin, so obviously two really good right backs in the league, which is, it's really nice to see. Lee Catamol, oh my word, he got 4 red cards. What the hell? How can one player get 4 red cards in a season? Our team didn't even get one. I'm just going to show you that just to prove that we actually didn't. I'm not too sure if there was any other teams that didn't do so. Am I being blind? Where is it? I really can't. I can't see it. Am I being blind? I know I'm being. No, there it is. Right. So Sunderland got 11. Yes, there was 4 teams that didn't actually get a single red card, which obviously really helped us out because except injuries, we pretty much had the pick of the players that we wanted. Games won, Emre Can and Lloris Karius were the highest 2 in the Premier League with 25 wins. I think we only won 25 games, so they were involved in every single win, which would be something to keep note of maybe going forward. In terms of goal scorers, highest goal scorer was Nordirin Amrabat, I believe that's how you say his name, from obviously Watford. Jamie Vardy coming in second, Zlatan Ibrahimovic in third place with 19 league goals in his Premier League debut season. Jordan Ibe, interestingly, he is at Watford. I'm not too sure if there's actually the buyback clause that they've instated in real life in this game. He actually got the most assists. Alexis Sanchez behind him. Gabriel Barbosa was joined 6th. Most running was actually Aaron Lennon of Everton. Key tackles, I'm not really interested. Is there anything really there? Key passes, Hector Bellerin. So yeah, nothing really to note. To be perfectly honest with you, that's one thing. Did we actually win 25 games? Yes, we only won 20. Well, only, I say only. We won 25 games, and Emre Can and Lloris Karius were involved in every single one of them wins, which is really, really good to see. That's one thing I want to actually. 2 things. So, if you've not actually seen my first video in this series, someone was actually giving me shit the other day, claiming I used an editor to sell Balotelli for £27 million. Now, let me just clear this up, right? If I used the out-of-game FM editor to sell Balotelli, then it would not show in the transfer history because it happens in the database, which has to be loaded as the game is first loaded, first saved. So it wouldn't show. For example, Sadio Mane, he's joined Liverpool in the, obviously, out-of-game editor. He is not in our transfer history. Look, you can't go back, you can't go forward. This is the first season. He's not there. If I use the in-game editor, which is up here, to transfer Balotelli, it would show us a free transfer. Here's an example. Alex Manninger and Gini Wijnaldum. They were done using that because obviously at the time me loading the database, he hadn't signed for Liverpool, but in real life he had. So I had to transfer him across. And Joe Allen, I had to move to Stoke because he has left for Stoke. I done that, and all of them say free. Balotelli was a complete, utter, 100% real transfer. Where's the proof? There's the proof. There's clauses in this guy's contract. 22.5 million was what he initially signed for. I said it was 27. There's the extra 5, with the also monthly installments. So there you go. I don't know what more proof I can give you. I just want to see if Jordan Ibe actually has that clause that we thought he would. It doesn't seem to be the case, so that's a bit sad because I would have maybe considered bringing Jordan Ibe back into the club. I'm just trying to think, is there anything else I can really show you for this season? It's obviously been a great season for us. I don't know if you want to see me me finances. I don't really know what any of this means. All I know is, that doesn't look good to me. But all I go off, because I'm not really too arsed about the finances. If I'm in current profit, / loss, if that's projected to be a profit over the course of the season, I don't really care about anything else. I'll do something if I'm advised to. I'll do something if I realise I need to. But according to this, I'm going to have an £88 million profit for this season, which is perfectly fine by me. So I'm not, by no means I am, I'm perfectly fine in terms of the finances. Board, well, I don't know, let's take a quick look at this. I'm untouchable apparently. Matches, 59%, thought they may have been a bit happy. Competitions 81, club finances, there we go. That's all I need to know. 100% in terms of finances, completely fine with that. Let's just take a look at the transfers, see who they're happy with. So they're obviously, they're very happy with Felix Paslak, even though he's only played like 3 games. Barbosa, obviously. Gaia, obviously. Klavan, they're not too happy about that, but that's the sale of him. Joe Allen, not too happy, but I had to do that. Alex Manninger, again, had to. Gini Wijnaldum, I had to. Sergi Sampa's getting there. Balotelli, the mixed on that. Honestly, given time, you will realise why I sold him. What else can I look at? Premier League, obviously, they're very happy with. I'm just trying to think, is there anything else I can really, show you? I think I had an idea. Oh, actually, yeah, I do know. Okay, so since what's this? Why is this up here? I was looking for something before. Yeah, so since the Premier League season did end, a few other things have gone on. So Arsenal have sacked Arsene Wenger. Burnley have sacked Sean Dyche. Hull have sacked Steve Bruce, which obviously we know in real life, Steve Bruce has already left. But at the time me loading the save, he hadn't. We were happy with the Premier League victory, as you would be. We were crowned champions, blah, blah, blah. More importantly, we'll go on to the, the awards. So, Eden Hazard won Footballer of the Year. I believe that's the Writers' Player of the Year, so like the PFA essentially. David Silva won the English Players' Player of the Year award, so that's, voted amongst the players. Obviously, we already know about the top goal scorer. Hector Bellerin claims the Young Player of the Year award, so good for him. Goal of the season went to Michy Batshuayi for a goal against Hull. Should we take a look at it? Maybe we should. I'm not too sure. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I can actually view the goals. I don't know. I don't want to. It's going to take too long. Oh, I'm already written it. Right, we're out of here. Thibaut Courtois won Golden Glove. Hugo Lloris actually came third. We'll take a quick look at that. So Courtois 19, 18 and 18. So it was very, very close for the Golden Glove. And this is the important one. I'd rather the praise go to me players, to be honest, but I did win Manager of the Year. I'm not too sure who. Do they have runners-up? No, they don't have runners-up. I'm in some quite decent company, to be fair. Quite happy with that, to be fair. Jose Mourinho, Alex Ferguson, why was I going to say Alan Pardew? Jose Mourinho, Arsene Wenger, the Kenny Dalglish right down there with Blackburn. So some decent managers of the past have also won that award. Players Team of the Year. Now this was interesting for me. Not a single Liverpool player. Not one Liverpool player. The team that won the Premier League is in Team of the Year. So I don't know. I'm not going to make too much of a deal out of it because I can't. It's only a game. But you'd imagine, come on, we really should have players in there. We'll take a look at Liverpool's awards. So obviously Nathaniel Clyne winning Player of the Year quite comfortably. Felipe Coutinho and Jordan Henson second and third. Goal of the season was scored by Felipe Coutinho against Sunderland. You'll be able to watch that, so you can watch that back somewhere. It will be in episode, oh my word, I don't even want to take a guess because I'll probably be wrong. Episode 11, no, 10, 11, something like that. Jose Gaia was signed of the season, and Felipe Coutinho won Young Player of the Season. Apparently that's our best 11. Let me just see if I agree with it. That's tough. I would like to see Gabriel Barbosa in there, to be honest, somewhere. But that is all for the season review for this season. If you have enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video, comment down below, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to do a bit of pre-season, get some new signings in, and we will be good to go again next season. Thank you all for watching. Until next time.